Hello friends, how are you? I hope you all are doing good. So let's continue with our discussion on budgetary control. Budgetary control. Now we are very close to the completion of this chapter, not many budgets left to be discussed, right? So before we start, subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon so that you get all the notifications and share with all your friends on all the platforms, whether Instagram or anywhere you want, right? On Instagram, if you are posting something, you can tag us in your post. Instagram is ksj underscore teaching, right? And you can join the Telegram for handbooks in line with these free YouTube lectures. You can buy from our website, that is www.ksjteaching.org, and the other amazing courses are available on our Android mobile app. You can download that. Okay, so let's have a quick revision of what we have covered, the important points, right? The important things what we have covered so far. So first thing that we covered was the sales budget, where we are deciding upon the quantity and the value of the sales, right? So in the sales budget, we are deciding upon two things. What is the quantity that we want to sell, and what is the value of the sales that we want to achieve, right? Based on the quantity of the sales, we plan our production, right? That how many units we need to produce if we want to achieve our target sale, and it is dependent upon the opening and the closing stock also. If we want to keep some closing stock, right, and if there is already some opening stock lying in the godown, so it is dependent upon that also. Okay, so based on the sales, we decide our production. Now everything else revolves around the production. So a lot of things revolve around the production. From production, we decide the plant capacity utilization, right? Plant capacity utilization budget. How many machines will be required? How many machine hours will be required? What will be the capacity utilization of the plant dependent upon the number of units that you have decided to produce in the production budget, right? After that, we decide upon, based upon this only, we decide the raw material budget, right? We decide upon the raw material budget. In the raw material budget, we decide upon the usage, right, and the purchase. That how much will be the usage of the raw material, and based on the opening and the closing inventories, we decide how much of the raw material is to be purchased. Now in the purchase, we decide about quantity also and value also, isn't it? This is what we have discussed. All this is based upon the production budget. After that, we decide upon the direct labor budget, right? In the direct labor budget, we talk about the hours, right? And we talk about the value or the cost. Then we discussed about factory overheads budget. Factory overheads budget. Obviously, when we are talking about the cost, we talk about three major elements. One is raw material, another one is labor, then we talk about the overheads. Like we have discussed the factory overheads, on the same lines, you will have the administration overheads budget also, right? We are not going to cover it, not very important, right? Administration overheads, same way we are going to divide all the overheads related to office and administration, we divide into variable, fixed and semi-variable. That's it, nothing else, right? On the same lines, we'll have the selling and distribution overheads. Selling and distribution overheads, right? So these are on the same lines, which we are not going to discuss. Then we discussed about the production cost budget. This is basically a revision of what we have done, right? We discussed about the production cost budget. So there is a difference between production budget and the production cost budget. In the production budget, we decide the quantities to be produced, and in the production cost budget, we decide upon the total cost of production. Total cost of production, remember the cost sheet. Prime cost plus the factory overheads, adjustment of WIP, what you get is cost of production. Add any administration overheads related to production, that is also a part of cost of production, right? Just as we have discussed in the cost sheet, the same way. Then we discussed about ending inventories, right? We discussed about ending inventory budget, right? In the ending inventory budget, we say there are three types of inventories. One is raw material inventory, other one is WIP inventory, and the third one is finished goods inventory, right? So this is all what we have already discussed, and everything, the major part of discussion here is that everything is dependent upon your production budget. So this is one of the most important budgets, right? Sale budget and production budget. These are the two most important budgets because everything else is dependent upon that. Everything else is dependent upon the number of units that you are planning to produce. Clear? Okay. So now in this lecture, what we are going to discuss is cost of goods sold budget. Cost of goods sold budget, right? Again, for this, what you need is remember the cost sheet, right? In the cost sheet, what we do, you have calculated the cost of production, right? In the cost sheet, you calculate cost of production, COP, you know how to calculate, right? After the cost of production, what we do the adjustment for opening stock of FG, right? Less closing FG, right? What we get is cost of goods sold. We call it as COGS, right? Now, in this case, one very important point here is that, sir, whether COGS is equal to COS. COS is cost of sales, whether this holds true or not. This will be equal if there are no selling and distribution expenses, right? This is the rule of costing. Always remember, because a lot of people have been asking me this question, that sir, whether COGS, that is cost of goods sold, and cost of sales mean the same thing. They mean the same thing only if they are equal, only if there are no selling and distribution overheads. There are no selling and distribution overheads, right? If the selling and distribution overheads is zero, then COGS means cost of sales, right? But if selling and distribution overheads are there, then we say cost of goods sold plus selling and distribution expenses, that is equal to cost of sales, right? So this is the difference between the two, right? So this is how the cost of goods sold budget is to be prepared in the same way as we have been doing in the cost sheet. There is no difference in that. See, the cost of goods sold budget. Direct material consumed, consumption of the material plus direct labor plus direct expenses, what you get is prime cost. After that, production overheads, what you get is production cost, add opening stock of WIP less closing stock of WIP, what you get is cost of goods produced, adjustment of cost of goods produced budget we started in the last lecture, right? After that, opening stock of FG and the closing stock of FG will give you cost of goods sold. Now in this part, remember always this closing stock of FG value might not be given and it is to be calculated. So we have learned how to calculate in the chapter of cost sheet, right? That because this value can be calculated on the basis of FIFO also and on the basis of weighted average also, but in 99.9% cases we use the FIFO method only, right? That opening stock of finished goods is first used, whatever is closing left, that is out of this fresh production. So whatever is the cost incurred on producing the total number of units, production, fresh production we are talking about, then what will be the cost for this closing FG units, right? So on that ways we calculate the value, right? So this is cost of goods sold budget. Right, sir? So let's do a problem on this. Question number 8. X Limited provides you the following information in related to two products, product A and product B. Direct materials X and Y at the rate 3 per unit and 1 per unit, 2 units and 1 unit, right? And 4 units and 2 units. After that, direct labor per unit is given in department P, 2 hours at 1 per hour and 1 hour at 2 per hour, rupees 2 per hour. Similarly, in the department Q is given, production overheads are given, fixed and variable, both are given per hour, so no need of absorption rate or anything, just enjoy. The units to be produced as per the production budget 10,000 and 4,000. Now this is the most important part, right? Because as I told you that everything revolves around this production budget, sir. Everything revolves around this production budget, right? After that, estimated closing stock of finished goods is 2,200 and 1,000. Now this is the units that is given to you, not the amount. Be careful. Wherever the amount is given, it is given as the rupee sign along with this, right? Where it is given estimated closing stock 2,200, it means this 2,200 is given as units and not the value that is given to you. Opening stock of finished goods 200 and 2,000. Again, the units that is given to you and the valuation of opening stock is given at rupees 25 per unit. 37.5 per unit, right? This is per unit. Right? So what is required is prepare the cost of goods sold budget. Clear? So product A, product B, you have to prepare the cost of goods sold budget. That means you have to prepare a cost sheet, simple cost sheet in which the first thing that you need to see is the material consumption. Material consumption in rupees, not in units, sir. In rupees, right? 10,000 units to be produced. Material X, 2 units, right? For 1 unit of the finished product. For 10,000 units, 20,000 multiplied by 3, rupees 3 per unit. Total 60,000 is the amount. Let's see. So direct material consumed, material X 60,000 for product A and 48,000 for product B, right? How this 48,000 for product B? Sir, 4,000 units multiplied by 4 units. This will give you the total number of units, that is 16,000. 16,000 units multiplied by 3 per unit. That will give you the total value of 48,000, right? Similarly for material Y. After that, direct labor in department P and department Q. Sir, for 1 unit, 2 hours. For 10,000 units, 20,000 hours multiplied by 1 rupee. So 20,000. 20,000. Similarly, 8,000, 30,000 and 12,000 department wise, product wise. Right? Production overheads per hour are given. So total number of hours you have calculated. Right? This is, see, per hour 1.63. Right? Total number of hours for the product A, 10,000 multiplied by 2 hours in the department P and 1 in the Q. Total 3 hours, 30,000 multiplied by 1.63. Right? That will give you 48,900. So be careful here. Whenever you have to multiply, you have to take total hours. Total hours means the hours in the department P plus hours in the department Q. So you have to take the total hours. Clear? So 1.63 per hour and 0.87 per hour is the variable cost. No issue, sir. So cost of goods produced you available easily. After that, opening stock. Opening stock, number of units are given multiplied by the valuation of opening stock, 25 per unit multiplied by 200, 5,000, 37.5 multiplied by 2,000. That will give you the value of opening stock. Less closing stock. Now, the number of units of the closing stock are given, that is 2,200 and 1,000, but its valuation is not given, but you can calculate the value of that. How you can calculate the value? See, whatever is this production cost, 1,95,000, this is the cost for producing, this is the cost for producing 10,000 units, right? If this is the cost for producing 10,000 units, okay, I'll write it here, 10,000 units. For producing 10,000 units, the cost of production is 1,95,000. What will be the value for 2,200 units? That will be 1,95,000 divided by 10,000 multiplied by 2,200. Right? Clear? This will give you the value of the closing stock of finished goods. Clear? This will give you the value of closing stock of finished goods. Similarly for this product B also you can calculate, right? 96,000 divided by 4,000 units multiplied by 1,000 units. This is units produced. This is units produced and 1000 is the closing stock of FG, right? This is the closing stock of finished goods. So 96,000 is the cost of production for 4,000 units. So what will be the cost for this 1,000 units? 24,000. Clear? Any doubts in this thing? So this is the cost of goods sold budget. Very simple. Just remember the cost sheet. That's it. Right? Just remember the cost sheet concepts. That's it. Nothing else required in this one. Right? I hope it is clear. Cost of goods sold budget is clear. Very simple, but yes, important from examination point of view. Not very important, I'll say, but yes, important, I'll say. Okay. After that, what we have is, after that we have cash budget, right? After this, we have cash budget. Now, cash budget, the same topic of cash budget we have in the financial management also, where there is a full-fledged topic on this. Under working capital management, there is a topic that is cash management, right? And under cash management, it is one of the major aspects, that is cash budget, how you prepare the cash budget, right? So what are the two important aspects I can say to be looked into when we are talking about the cash budget? Nothing, sir. Just you have to see two aspects, right? If I talk about cash budget, in the cash budget, I have to look at only the two aspects. One is the cash inflow. One is cash inflow and other one is cash outflow. That means you have to decide upon the sources from where there can be a cash inflow, and you have to decide upon the sources from where there will be a cash outflow, right? The net impact of inflow, say your inflow is 10,000 rupees and your outflow is say 8,000 rupees. So net you will have 2,000 rupees in cash. Now this is a very common scenario in every household, right? This cash budget you are preparing almost in every household. When your father tries to prepare a budget, that if you are getting the salary of 10,000 rupees, receiving your salary is what? Receiving your salary is a cash inflow. Right? Out of those 10,000 rupees, what will be the expenditures that I will have to do? I will have fuel expenses, electricity expenses, vegetable expenses, other expenses. 8,000 is my expenses, right? So I can say this is my income, right? And these are my expenses, right? So cash outflow, the remaining 2,000 I'll still have in my pocket. No need to worry about it. Right? So this is a very common scenario that we see in our day-to-day routine. Take your example only. You might be getting the pocket money, right? Whenever you receive that pocket money from your father, that is a cash inflow. Now you decide upon that out of those 10,000 rupees of the pocket money, how much of the expenditure you plan to do, right? 8,000 rupees in the form of parting with the friends, in the form of paying your tuition fees, in the form of buying some notebooks, books, whatever you want to do, right? So whatever you will have, you try to plan the things. This is very important for the business also, to plan the things, that how much of the cash inflow they are expecting, what will be the cash outflow that they are expecting, and whether they will be in the net amount, whether they will be saving something or not. Right? If your expenditure goes as 12,000, you will have negative 2,000. Right? This is not good for any business. If it is negative, then the business will have to see that how to convert it into a positive figure, and they will have to see whether to continue business or not. If for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they are getting the negative figures, they will have to decide upon whether they can continue with the business or not, whether it is a profitable business in the future or not. So a lot of decisions depend upon that, right? So let's see what a cash budget looks like. Looks like something like this. Total cash available, opening balance of cash, then cash sale, then collection from debtors. If this is a credit sale, right, obviously you are going to collect from the debtors. This cash sale doesn't mean the cash in the real form. It means whatever you are getting, even if you are getting it into the bank also, right? Proceeds from the issue of shares, proceed from the sale of fixed asset, other non-operating income, any kind of an inflow, right? This is basically any kind of a cash inflow I will talk about. Okay. After that, cash payment, cash purchases of the material. Obviously, you will buy the raw material. You can purchase something on the cash. If not on the cash, then if it is on the credit, then you will have to make the payment to the creditors, payment of the wages, factory overhead, administration expenses, selling and distribution expenses, fixed asset, other non-operating expenses. So surplus or shortage. Right? So, this is your cash outflow. This is your cash outflow. So surplus will be if the cash inflow is more than cash outflow, and the shortage will be if the outflow is more than inflow, isn't it? Right? This is what is going to happen. Clear? So this is how the cash budget. Now, two things I need to discuss in this cash budget. Two things, two small things that we need to discuss. One is collection from debtors. Right? Sometimes collection from debtors, if you get a question on the cash budget, the chances are not really high, because even the institute MAT doesn't have a question on the cash budget. Yes, in the financial management, you can definitely get a question on the cash budget. Right? From the financial management, if I say working capital management, this topic is very important. But here, if we talk about in the budgetary control, this topic is okay, sir. Not, I'll not say not at all important, neither I will say, sir, very, very important. No, right? It is okay. Just know about this topic. Now, let's talk about something about collection from the debtors. What I want to talk about is, sometimes this information might not be directly given, right? But you can calculate it. How, sir? Say for a particular period, right? You have done a credit sales. You have done the credit sales in a particular period. You have done a credit sales of say 10,000 rupees. So this is the amount that you have to recover from your debtors, isn't it? Now you will see if there is any opening balance, right? For a particular period, you will say in this particular month, I have done a credit sales of 10,000 rupees. There was an opening balance of debtors. That means there was still some amount to be recovered from the debtors, say 5,000. So what is the total amount? This total 15,000 is the amount that is to be recovered from the customers. That is to be recovered from the customer. Okay. Now at the end of the period, when you check, at the end of this particular month, when you check, your closing balance was 10,000 rupees. Right? So where is the remaining 5,000, sir? Where is the remaining 5,000? Where is the remaining 5,000? This remaining 5,000 means if you were to collect 15,000, right? At the end of the period, you are left with only 10,000 to be recovered. That means 5,000 rupees you have recovered from your debtors, right? So this is collection from debtors, right? This is collection from debtors. Okay. 5,000 rupees. This is your collection from debtors. Credit sales, add opening balance, less closing balance will give you collection from debtors. On the same lines, we'll discuss about payment to suppliers. On the same lines, we'll discuss about payment to suppliers. What about payment to suppliers? Sir, you are buying the material on the credit. You are buying some material on the credit. So you will say credit purchase. Credit purchases. Say in a particular month, you have done some credit purchases. Say of 10,000 rupees, you have purchased a material on the credit, right? This is the amount that you have to pay now to the supplier. Okay. Add, if there is any opening balance, right? Say 5,000 rupees was the opening balance. So total amount 15,000. Now this 15,000 is payable to supplier. Total amount payable to supplier. Payable to supplier. You have to pay 15,000, out of which 5,000 was an old balance and 10,000 is the current month purchases. Now, when you looked at the closing balance at the end of the month, you looked at the balance was 10,000 only. So what about the remaining part? Where is the remaining 5,000? You were to pay 15,000, but at the end of the month when you checked this balance, that the payment was to be done only 10,000. That means you have already paid 5,000 rupees. That is why this balance reduced from 15 to 10,000, right? So this is paid to suppliers. 5,000 is paid to suppliers. Now, when we talk about the cash budget, in the cash budget, you have to take this figure, 5,000 and 5,000, right? This will be taken in the cash budget, right? When we talk about the cash budget format, this is the figure that you will be carrying in the cash budget, right? I hope this is clear. So these were the 2 points related to the cash budget, collection from debtors and payment to suppliers, right? Basically the credit sales and the credit purchases. That is what was required to be discussed. Clear? I hope this much is clear, sir. Right? So now what we are left with is we are absolutely near to the closure of this chapter. There are some small budgets, administration expenses, selling expenses, not at all relevant, right? All the relevant topics we have covered. Now in the next lecture, what we are going to cover is, one, we are going to cover the master budget, right? Next lecture, we are going to complete this chapter. So only one lecture left for this chapter. After that is all your practice. Practice from the ICI study mat, right? ICI study mat is available on our Android app. So just go there, join the course, and believe me, you will really feel the change after joining that course. You will feel that confidence instilled in you if you join the course and listen to each and every lecture very carefully. At the end of the series, I can bet you that you will feel that confidence that yes, costing is easy and we can do it. This is a very small investment, right? But this investment can really fetch you very good marks. Believe me, can really fetch you very good marks. Do not miss out on this opportunity, guys, because if you miss out on this opportunity, you might miss out on one attempt, right? Because of costing. Because costing is an interesting subject, but yes, in the paper you will get the twist and everything. So for that, ICI study mat is a must. So in the next lecture, we are going to do the master budget and control ratios. Control ratios, very easy. Sometimes these control ratios have been asked for 5 marks, right? Not more than 5 marks, only a 5 marks topic. We will cover the control ratios and master budget. Master budget is covering all the budgets. That's it, right? So see you guys in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying, keep sharing. Thank you so much.